I also wanted to... I had to take a sip of coffee there. I also wanted to bring up to you a post I found on Facebook, or I didn't find it, I shouldn't say that. It's actually my wife's ASL language teacher. My children are homeschooled, as some of you may know, and they chose ASL, or sign language, as a language to choose. So they have a private teacher for that, and she's on Facebook. And I'd like to read to you her post from June 24th, unrelated to language or ASL, really. And I thought this was very, very interesting, folks. So, without further ado, I will read it. And her name is Shay O'Riordan. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And it says, attention, vegans and vegetarians who think they're morally superior. I say this as someone who was vegan for 5 years. You are not better than anyone else because of what you eat. Here's the truth. Plants are alive. They're sentient in their own way. Science has proven that plants communicate. They feel stress. They respond to threats. They send out chemical distress signals when they're harmed. They bleed. That's what vegetable juice is. They scream, just as at frequencies that you cannot hear. You've simply been conditioned to empathize with creatures that have eyes, faces, and vocal cords. But that doesn't mean a plant's life matters any less. Consciousness doesn't require a nervous system that looks like yours. And let's talk about the environment for a second. If you believe that being vegan automatically makes you better for the planet, that's also a half-truth at best. A large percentage of vegan staples, like avocados, almonds, quinoa, and coconut, are imported from other countries, often grown in ways that cause deforestation, water depletion, and soil exhaustion. Monocropping for soy and other vegan protein substitutes is a major driver of habitat loss. The reality: you cannot exist in a biological body, or the vessel that we're all, finding ourselves in right now, without consuming a life. That's the important part I want you to come across, that I would like to come across to you with this. You cannot exist in any biological body in this existence without consuming life. Period. Whether you eat plants or animals, you're still ending living processes to sustain your own. So if you want to eat plant-based for your health, for your ethics, or because you like how it makes you feel, that's totally fine. But the moment you start using your diet as a moral pedestal to shame others, you're just being intellectually dishonest and willfully blind to the science. You're not better. You're just making a different choice about which life forms you're willing to kill and eat. So before you climb back up on that moral high horse, maybe sit with the fact that all of us survive by ending another life, whether it has a face or not. I thought that was rather interesting. As you know, I've brought up these types of discussions on this broadcast before, and what it says in the scriptures, whether it's right to eat meat or to kill and all that. And yes, in the beginning we had a garden diet from Eden, but things changed very quickly when we fell from grace and sinned and brought death into the equation. And as that post illuminated, I thought pretty eloquently, everything is alive that has any type of sustenance for you, any raw value, right? Any raw sustenance that is going to be attributed to that entity to that thing, whatever it be, means that it's alive, and that you must end its living processes to sustain your own. And we must all understand that life is precious. It's precious. And we must honor that which we kill and take to sustain our own and our families. That's what I find to be the important take from it. And there's also certain plants and animals alike that we should and should not eat for various reasons. Not for moral reasons, I might add, but because they're not good for you in very physical ways. In most of these cases, they're poisonous, to your being. They cause irreparable damage and processes in you once consumed certain things. Pork being one of them. It's proven. So it's not because the Bible tells you not to, because you're a bad man and you're going to go to hell if you do it. No, that's not what I'm saying. There are reasons for everything. Reasons. Our Father loves us. And He tells us to do things because He cares. And He wants us to thrive, to be joyous, to love each other, and to bring about His good works on earth. And I find that that is best done when you follow His instruction, His Torah, His way, and no other. And that's my experience. Last week I was reading from the Book of the Nazarene, which is also known as the Book of Calliope. It was found, I believe, in a Celtic abbey in Ireland, probably, somewhere in that area at least. And it had been through a couple fires and survived. But it's another testimony of the life of Yahushua HaMashiach, the Anointed One. The plant of righteousness, some would call.